What's good, y'all? It's your boy D-Lou, back at it again with another video. And in this one, first off, happy Black History Month to all of my brothers and sisters out here. We know that we have definitely come along in a long way, a hard way, and we come a long way as a group, as a people within the United States of America. So I want to make sure that we start off this February 1st with a happy Black History Month, and let us not remember our humble beginnings and where we came from, or where we were literally shipped from the motherlands, crossed the Atlantic, and came to the United States. And we played a part in creating what is the United States today. So don't let that go unstated. Don't let that go unnoticed. For our ancestors definitely put in the work. They shed blood, sweat, and tears. And they poured their energy and their dreams into us, which is the generation that comes after them, to be able to uphold the name and to be able to reap the benefits of what they have produced for us. So with that being said, happy Black History to everyone. But for this particular video, I kind of want to acknowledge and just say, like, with the content that I'm doing for my channel, how we're talking about like anime, video games, and just like live topics, I want to give special recognition to my favorite like anime creators, because I think they were able to cultivate and be able to like curate a space to where we're able to have like certain dialogues and topics in them, and kind of like what made anime likable in the first place. Because if you were to talk about anime and just like the likableness of anime back in like the 2000s or like the 90s, you would be seen as like, oh, like, why are you watching that weird stuff? Like, anime is for geeks, anime is for nerds. Like, you know, it's not seen as like socially acceptable or quote unquote like, you know, cool. But now it's in mainstream, and with things like DreamCon popping up and like all these other cons, and anime going on to Crunchyroll and then going on to Netflix and being more accessible to YouTube and to kids and younger audiences, it's seen as like the more sociable, acceptable thing nowadays. So I have a few specific content creators that I want to personally shout out. Of course, I want to shout out RDC World, because they made DreamCon possible. And I remember, if it wasn't for them, and it was just like, oh, when people take anime too far video, where Mark, Leland, and Desmond, they was just doing this thing and like doing like skits, and Mark was just like doing all these things where he was just like, Shadow Konjutsu, or just Rasengan, I said Rasengan, and it just go like, but I'm not I'm the Avatar Water.
Wanna do this again, bruh?
Rasengan! Nigga, don't I said Rasengan! Rasengan! What are you doing? You gotta fight that nigga like a nigga, bro. That stuff don't work. But I'm not a nigga. I'm the Avatar! Water! What?
Ooh. Like, that part, like, it genuinely made me crack up, and like, it found as relatable, because I'm just like, hey, I was able to quote each and every one of those things and every one of those lines. And granted, he took it a bit way too far, but I genuinely enjoy like the acting, like his commitment to it with the music and like the composition, and like just the energy that Mark, Desmond, and Leland were able to exemplify with it. So want to give a shout out to them, and like that's honestly, at least from what I remember, how they got started as a channel, at least how I discovered them as a channel. And then they went on to do other skits as well, like, you know, one of my favorite ones was the Popeyes training one, where they were just like, you know, this ain't no 5-star restaurant, this is Popeyes, pick it up with your hands, man, you know what, you cut. Like, stuff like that. Or when they got into like the UPS training, where he's like, I see you! You're not running fast enough. He's like, that's from FedEx. Take that to FedEx. You cut. And it, or just like the one where it's like Chick-fil-A, where he was just like, here you go, sir. He's like, no problem. He's like, no problem. What you think this is, McDonald's? Arby's? Man, you know, you cut, move. Give it back. Give it back. Or
No problem! What you think this is, McDonald's? Arby's? Man, will you cut, move! Give it back! Give it back! Here! Thank you. My pleasure. You heard that? My pleasure! And you can get out of here!
I can just say it again.
This ain't no Arby's! Get out of here!
or just the one where like Doc Rivers, or just him being like, Paul George, listen to me when I say this. You are trash. Like, that genuinely was hilarious. And like, you know, just the imitation, like how he studies certain people, or like, you know, just like how he's able to apply like real life things, and just like things that we see in anime, and like things that often may seem as taboo. He's able to make it more, they're able to make it more like acceptable, and like it's okay to talk about these things, and like that could be seen as cool, and like, hey, if you like it, that's cool, and that's really all that matters, you know? So I really enjoy that for RDC World, and how they were able to like bring that, like make it more acceptable to like things like anime, cartoons, and just be like, oh, like, you know, like this generation of like songs versus that generation of songs. So like they would have like things like Danny Phantom, or like Fairly Odd Parents, or like for video games, like they would have like Super Mario go up against things like Sonic, like Sega, like Adventure 2, or like City Escape, or stuff like that, you know? So I want to give shout outs to RDC World for really just doing that. My next one that I want to do is TSO Sage, and this one is where like I really appreciate, because like he would just address like popular and unpopular takes and just be like, hey, I'm going to debunk this right now. So
story-wise, Dragon Ball is, again, be a man. And yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier, why I think overall Dragon Ball is underrated. And it's just like, bro, the story of Dragon Ball is not good. Yes, we could go down this eternal rabbit hole of what's a complex anime. Y'all know my take on that. Every anime isn't complex if you want it to not be complex. Fun fact of the day. I can make Attack on Titan sound simple. I can make Dragon Ball sound simple. I can make Naruto sound simple. I can make any anime ever sound simple. So the point is, yeah, I do think the story of Dragon Ball is severely underrated.
like, for example, I saw something that he was just saying, like, you know, like, oh, like Super Saiyan Blue Evolution versus Super Saiyan Rage that Trunks had. Like, people just trying to be like, oh, well, Trunks' transformation felt more justified, and he was like, wait, let me pump your brakes a little bit. You're telling me that an A-pull transformation like Super Saiyan Rage is more well and thought out than Super Saiyan Blue Evolution? Like, I actually agree with that. He's like, we'll address it and be like, hey, some of this stuff that I see like within like the community, no, we're going to address it. But like, I like how he's able to well-verse, like he's mostly known for like his Dragon Ball commentary and Dragon Ball reactions and his glorious King Goku. Like, I really like that about TSO Sage, but like he's also venturing into other things like Naruto, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen, like, you know, Hunter x Hunter, stuff like that. So I appreciate his versatility and just, you know, his awareness and just trying to like expand and branch his platform, because it's very much needed, you know. And me being like an anime consumer, even though not heavily anime consumed, but I have my favorite animes, like I like being able to hear different takes and just what different opinions are. Next is Black Bulma. Like, she literally, I want to give props to her. And reason that I want to give props to her is because Black Bulma, like, she's a black woman whose page is dedicated to Dragon Ball. Like, she'll post Dragon Ball all day, every day, and won't even get tired of it. Like, that's what she does.
Every time I read my DMs, it be filled with a bunch of men who feel like they need to prove to me that they know more Dragon Ball than me. For example, this gentleman DM'd me and said, I bet I know more Dragon Ball Z than you. Y'all, it's no competition. I promise. I don't never go around pretending I'm like the most educated Dragon Ball fan on planet Earth. Not even Akira Toriyama himself knew everything about Dragon Ball. So why the hell do you think I do? And if y'all know more about Dragon Ball than me, congratulations. What do y'all want me to do about that? I just be existing and loving the series, I promise you.
She'll post whether it's just like, you know, what if scenarios or just like things that might be happening within the community. I remember back when I first discovered her, she was posting like recaps of Daima and just giving us updates on what Daima was containing, what the future episodes could have, spoilers, just like that. And like, I really appreciate that, and like I commend her, because as a black woman, like, liking anime is one thing, but like if you like Dragon Ball, like the anime where it's just, oh, dudes punch and scream real hard, like you're just like, wait, what? Like, it makes it just seem weird. But I want to give credit to Black Bulma. The next person that I want to cover on my list is Cartoons Dojo. In my heart, I have a lot of love for Cartoons Dojo because I've paid attention to him for a lot over the years. And with Cartoon, I like how, like, at first he was just like, oh, like he expanded by doing like what ifs and then just covering like theories, and I appreciate that for him. But like, he went into like the realm of power scaling at once. But I think he did a video, like, I think covering like, could Broly, DBS Broly beat Jiren? And with that, like, it was just so interesting, like, you know, like him and I think Seth the programmer, they were collabing in that video. It got taken down, but that was one of my favorite videos I think that he did, because he was just like, oh, like, you know, running all the figures, running all the numbers, which power scaling in Dragon Ball can be complicated, but it's something that I commend for Cartoons Dojo and him doing. And then like his recent videos, or at least one of the most recent videos that I've seen him do, was he was like ways to off Goku, and like presenting it to like Lord Frieza, or like who would be the next like valuable candidate for God of Destruction. So I think that that's really cool, and like just paying attention to that and him keeping up with his what ifs. So shout out to you, Carthu. My favorite, one of my favorites, Dashi Games. Dashi Games, just like, I remember Dashi back when I was in middle school, high school, when he would do things like Teenage Mutant Ghetto Turtles, or like Nora the Explorer, or SpongeBob, or Ghetto Super Mario. Like, those were funny. Like, my favorite one is actually the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where he's just like, where Splinter comes out, he's like, yo, he's like, you eating ravioli pizza, and then he's just like, shut the F up. Look at you rock and rolling. Shut the F up. Look at you. What the means you got on them red Octobers?
Look at this shit. You niggas eating caviar pizza.
Man, I ain't even ordered this shit. Rap ordered this
Shut the fuck up. Look at you rocking a rolling. He got your ass right there. Shut the fuck up. Look at you. What the means you got on them red Octobers? This nigga rocking them Yeezys and polo draws. Man.
Like, I really wish Dashi could have continued that, but like, he covered not just anime but just like cartoons as well, and like Ghetto Fight it and made it his own. But as he like did that, he continued into like, you know, live streaming and gameplaying, and I really commend Dashi for what he's doing. And shout out to you, Dashi, for doing your thing, man. Next is the Amaki. The Amaki is literally my home center for like doing, like, seeing Naruto what is, and I think that's how they actually like blown up, or at least they were originally known as an Avatar The Last Airbender channel, because hence the title, the Amaki. So now they venture into things like doing Naruto what ifs, you know, occasional Dragon Ball what ifs, but I think their channel niche is mostly Naruto. But like doing these things and like them writing professional scripts and like actually giving it the love and care that it deserves, I really do commend the Amaki for what it's doing, and how they engage, and like they engage their community or followers, being like, hey, if you have a video that you want us to do, leave it in the comments below, and then hopefully we'll get to it. And they listen to their subscribers and their fans, and I just really commend that, because I'm just like, that allows for cultivation, and it allows for just camaraderie, and knowing like there's a space where we can be heard and listened to and talk about these things and to consume them. So shout out to you, the Amaki. Kagi Films. So Kagi Films, he used to do a lot of like gameplay videos. Like, you know, I found out about him from when he used to play Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and then Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and just do like random versus battles. So I don't really follow him too much anymore, but I just remember Kagi Films was also an integral part of like my intro space into like anime and that. Dead Bird. Dead Bird is a relatively new content creation channel as far as like power scaling Dragon Ball and just covering things like, you know, oh, could Super Saiyan 2 Gohan beat DBZ Broly and stuff like that. Like things and long-standing questions that we often had as an anime community as far as Dragon Ball. He would address it and give like a very popular take, and referencing like the Daisenshu's power scaling guides, go to like the source documents and like the movies and stuff, and look at it at its original source and present the facts and the evidence. So that Bird, even though he's relatively new, I like his content and what he does, and he covers like, you know, the whole like all genres of Dragon Ball, whether it be Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Super, GT, Daima, you know, the new upcoming series, and just making speculations about that. One of my favorite ones that he did was covering like, oh, what's gonna DBZ, like Dragon Ball Super Furious, how is that gonna be like are they gonna take inspiration from Dragon Ball Z Kai and just giving us like the important parts, while also giving us like chops of life and just like sections of life to see like, you know, what's going on in like the lifestyles of like the Z fighters. And it's not just about just the battles and stuff, but like we get to see slices of life. So I really like his interpretation and how he's trying to like, you know, make all things Dragon Ball, but also make it specifically his own. Next, Swag Kage. So for some of you guys may remember Swag Kage. Swag Kage was literally the Naruto Everything channel back before one of my other, one of my other anime channels that I like to tune into, but I'll get to him later. But Swag Kage was like originally like the guy where like, you know, he used to talk about like explaining Flying Raijin, explaining Sage Mode, explaining Radara Rasengan, like the history about the Uchihas. One of my favorite series that he did was like dissecting characters, so like dissecting Itachi Uchiha, Madara Uchiha, Orochimaru, Obito, you know, just characters like that, and just really diving into like the mindset and like why these characters think the way they think. Why do we love them? Why is Madara Suakage's like favorite character, but like actually explaining like his thought process and being like, hey, this is why Madara thought the way he thought, because these things happen in his life, and we could take things and like see the buildup of how characters are represented within the manga and then the anime, and then applying it and then making videos about it and just being like, hey, this is the reason that I like this and I'm putting it out here. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like this or do you guys not like this? But let us know in the comments below. So shout out to Suakage. I know he doesn't make as many videos as he used to, but Suakage will always have a special place in my heart as far as that. And last but not least, on my list, I have NC Hammer. NC Hammer, this one's for you. Like, I really love your content. I love just what you do. Like, you were basically a Naruto channel at first, but then you had NC Hammer, and then you have the Weak Commander. One of my favorite, like my favorite video I think that you've done was explaining Nen, because now Hunter x Hunter is actually my favorite anime, because I'm just like, hey, Hunter x Hunter, like the power system that it has with Nen and just how you explained it, and just gave me reminders about things like, you know, Ten, Zetsu, Rin, Hatsu, and like, you know, just going over Gyo, In, you know, Ryu, and just stuff like that. And Zetsu, like that really just made you stand out, and like you weren't afraid to go over things where it's just like, hey, explaining what Nanika and Alika's like, you know, association with each other, or like who Gon's mother is.
On their own, Gon separates himself from every other MC because not everything works out for him. He gets tripped up, gets powerful, gets in some fights, loses everything, and heads home weaker than he started. He's a representation to all of us that while sometimes we believe that we're bigger and badder than everything the world could ever throw at us, without help and humility, one day we might realize we're just a big fish in a small pond. And thus I say to the people who believe that Gon is one note, that he's not one note. You just can't read the sheet music. But what do you guys think? Do you think,
like, you know, kind of keeping the anime fandom alive with Hunter x Hunter, but also you found your niche with Naruto, and you said, hey, Naruto's what pays the bills, and you know, it's one of the most popular anime on the planet, so you do what you need to do. So I just really like the versatility of MC Hammer and what he's able to do, and like how he's able to like do things like, you know nothing about like Itachi Uchiha, you know nothing about Hashirama Senju, Tobirama, Orochimaru, you know, Sasuke, Kakashi, Might Guy. Like, it's just the versatility and the creativeness that I really like about him, and that he explains in his professionalism, and just the drive that he has and the ambitiousness that he has. Like Otaku's Anonymous, like his podcast that he does with Danny and Danny Mata, and I'm just like, dude has a lot of creativity, and that's something that I low-key do want to do one day, or wherever like God leads me with my channel. But like, these are the content creators that like I really look up to as far as the anime verse, and like makes it okay for us to talk about anime and not like be in the shadow with it, or like it's something that we look down upon. For it's content creators like this that make us have a space and feel like we have a place to belong. And with DreamCon coming, I'm just like, no, like I think this should, like, I want this message to get out and be like, hey, for all you guys who do the work that you do and provide us content and entertainment and just information, it doesn't go unnoticed. You are seen, you are heard, you are appreciated, and we love you and all the work that you do. And a special shout out to my Black content creators out there. You guys are doing the work. Keep grinding, keep your head up, and I see the fruits of your labor, and you're doing the thing. But let me know in your comments below. Let me know who your favorite anime content creators are and why they're your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to share this video with a friend so that we may continue to grow into the people that God wants us to be each and every day. And as always, it's your boy D-Lou, signing out. Take care.